Okay, good morning, guys. Today we're going to look at creating a bag tag using Adobe Illustrator and the TAS TTC laptops. First step with this is we need to access the Adobe file which links to the laser cutter because we want to cut our bag tags using the laser cutter. So we're just going to open up the Finder window, and when you click on the Finder window, you'll get all these apps down the side, and across the top in the top toolbar you can go to the Go menu and come all the way down to Connect to Server. Once you've opened that server, you need to make sure that you type in the web address that's found at the top. If yours is different, maybe it come up automatically. If it doesn't, you need to type it in exactly the same as the one is on my server window and hit Connect. It might ask you for a username or password, which will be your SCAS email and your SCAS username. For me, it just logs in automatically. Once I'm in, I'm going to go to the shared folder, and then I'm going to open up Students and then Technology Faculty 2021. In that Technology Faculty 2021, you'll be looking for laser cutter templates. Inside that laser cutter template, you can open the Illustrator Laser Template 2021. You could open any one of those, they're all the same really, but we'll open the Laser 2021 file. Illustrator is quite a big program, so it might take a couple of seconds to load. And once it does, we'll have a screen that looks like this one. Just close that and pop that away. Okay, now the important thing about this screen is that the image or the paper in front of us, the page layout, is exactly the size of the requirements or anything that fits in the laser cutter bed. So whatever we design, as long as it fits on that white sheet in front of us, would fit on the laser cutter. If it went outside of that, it wouldn't fit on the laser cutter. So that's why it's really important we have to use a template. The other thing with the laser cutter is there's only 3 colours that we're going to use that the laser cutter recognises, and that is RGB black, RGB red, and RGB blue. Any other colour will not be recognised by the laser cutter and will not work. If we do anything in black, it's going to etch. Anything in red is going to cut, and anything in blue is going to engrave. And there'll be some samples that we'll pass around the room so you can see what this looks like. The other thing to be mindful of is anything that we do in Illustrator, we want to use a stroke weight of 0.01. So if you can change that now, would be great, because that's the line thickness that the laser cutter needs to recognise in order to complete its tasks. Now, we have 2 boxes up here. One is a fill and one is a stroke. And I'll show you the differences quickly between those. So you don't need to do anything at the moment, but watch. If I choose a rectangle tool and I draw a rectangle on my screen, you'll notice that it's white fill, and it has a black line around the outside. If I was to change my stroke weight to something that was a little bit thicker, you would notice the black line stroke weight would change. If I selected my box and I changed the fill colour to yellow, you would see that it's yellow with a black line around the outside. Same again, I can change my colour around the outside to blue, and there. So we've got fill and we've got stroke, which is the line around the outside of the shape. So I'll just quickly change my back to 0.01. And the first thing we're going to want to do is have no fill and a red stroke, because we want to cut the outside line out around our key tag. The other thing to recognise is you've got all these tools down the page. Whatever tool you're on, for example, if I'm on a rectangle, it will keep drawing rectangles up until the point I go back to my black arrow. And the black arrow basically selects the whole shape. So the first thing we want to do is select the rectangle. Now we're not just going to do a normal rectangle for this project. What I want you to do is click and hold down the Shift key and select the key on your mouse and select the rounded rectangle tool. And clicking on the page, we get a box that comes up which allows us to draw the exact dimensions that we want our rectangle, our rounded rectangle to be. And being a key tag, we want it to be 60 millimeters in width, and if I press tab, and we want it to be 25 millimeters high. And just to be a little bit different, let's change the corner radius, the rounded radius of our key tag, to 10 millimeters. Clicking OK, you'll notice it'll draw a rounded key tag up in the top corner of my screen. Coming back to the selection arrow, I can click off that, and if I zoom in, Command plus is to zoom, I can see my rectangle. Now what I'm going to do, because it's very difficult to see, I'm just going to change my stroke weight to 1 so that you can see the work that I'm doing. Okay, so there's my rectangle. There's my key tag. The next thing we need to look at is putting a circle inside the key tag in the top left hand corner so that we can put a key ring through it. So what we want to do here is find the circle tool, so ellipse. So clicking on the corner of the square tool and holding down, we can click the ellipse tool. Clicking where I want the circle to go, I can draw a circle which is going to be 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. Okay, and you can see there I get a circle. Going back to the selection tool, I'm just going to move that circle into the top left hand corner. I don't want to go too close to the edge, otherwise it will rip my the keyring when we put it through might rip the leather. So make sure you've got heaps of material still left on your key tag. Very good. Okay, so we've done some cutting actions there. The next action we want to do is to write our name. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to select the text tool type. We're going to change our stroke to none and our fill to black. This is going to be an etch. And what I'm going to do there now is draw a text box, delete the text that's in it, and write my name. Okay, once you've done that, if you wanted to, you could select it and you could change the character, I guess, and you could muck around in here and you can change the font and things like that. You could center it in your text box if you wanted to, okay? But essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that off that now. I'm just going to shrink this down, and then I'm going to drag my name up into my key tag. And if you wanted to, you could make your text a little bit bigger. So in the character, I'm just going to change my font height to, let's see, 18. You can see it's just gone outside my box there, so all I'm going to do is extend that box. All right, and I think that's a good height. So I'm just going to place that in the bottom of my key tag. And that's the first stages. I'm going to create a second video now, which will show you how to insert an image, and we'll put that in as a blue, so we're doing multiple different functions.